As we continue on the special considerations page, it is time to talk as a team about state assessments. Peter did participate in the MAP alternate last year during his 7th grade year. The next part of our agenda is to review the eligibility criteria to see if Peter is still eligible. Desi offers us a checklist to help aid the team in making this decision. The checklist helps us define eligibility by offering us statements. If we mark yes on all statements, then that helps guide our decision that Peter would qualify for MAP A. If we respond no to any questions, then MAP A may not be appropriate for Peter. Therefore, as we proceed, I will use the checklist to help guide our conversation. Is everyone comfortable with proceeding in that manner?
Yep.
Good. Great. The first statement is, the student has been evaluated and found eligible under IDEA. I believe we can answer yes to this statement. Peter qualifies with an educational diagnosis of intellectual disability, and he does have an IEP. Does everyone agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Great. Then we can move on to the second statement. Second statement is, the student demonstrates the most significant cognitive disabilities and limited adaptive skills that may be combined with physical or behavioral limitations. For this criteria, we are looking to see if Peter's cognitive ability falls within the most significant range and he has significantly limited adaptive skills. According to his last diagnostic report, Peter does have an IQ of 55.
I believe this one's a yes. In my class, we have to adapt almost all of the assignments for Peter, and he's also at the lower end of the reading ability within my class.
So while I do understand your point, is Peter able to complete the work with modifications?
Yes, but many times he does need many prompts and reminders.
So once again, while I do see your point, while his cognitive ability may fall into the most significant range, this criteria does have two parts. So let's go ahead and talk about his adaptive skills.
What are adaptive skills?
Thank you for asking. Adaptive skills are skills that allow us to independently care for ourselves. This would include basic daily living skills such as eating or dressing yourself.
Well, Peter definitely can do those things. In the morning when he gets up, he can use the restroom, brush his teeth, he gets himself dressed, he comes out and eats his breakfast. Occasionally he might need some help, so he will either point to something or use one word. You know, we're really working on his communication device to get him to speak a little bit more.
Great. And the skills that you're seeing at home really align to what I've observed at school as well.
I also agree. Peter's able to leave the room by himself, he's able to use the restroom, and he walks to the cafeteria with his peers by himself.
Is it my understanding, though, that by saying that he does not demonstrate adaptive skills that are significantly limited, he will not qualify for MAP A?
Yes, that is correct. From this conversation and our observational data that we are talking about, it would seem that this statement about adaptive skills does not apply to Peter. I also looked at Peter's past IEPs. OT services were dropped in the 5th grade. At that meeting, the occupational therapist showed data showing that Peter had met his adaptive skills goal.
I do remember the OT sharing those data with us, and we were all very excited about what that information told us and about Peter's progress. My question is, if Peter doesn't qualify for MAP A, what does that mean?
That means that Peter will participate in MAP testing with the appropriate modifications and accommodations. This is the testing that his same age peers participate in.
Will this assessment be really difficult for him?
It might contain more rigor, but with the appropriate modifications and accommodations, we can help to chunk his testing. And in my experience in working with Peter, I think that will help to reduce his frustration.
I'm concerned about his performance. I believe this test may be too difficult for him, and it may not be a true representation of his ability.
Peter has never participated in MAP testing that wasn't MAP A. What's the difference?
I understand your concern, and the content may be more difficult, but that means as educators, we are going to have to work to align Peter's instruction to ensure that he's receiving content driven in grade level standards, whether that be the essential elements or grade level expectations. We'll look at his goals and his supports soon, and we will need to make sure that we're working to meet Peter's needs.
Well, I do have some concerns about how Peter will handle the testing. I do understand that he's no longer meets the criteria for MAP A. I do want to talk more about how his instruction will be affected and make sure that we keep Peter's needs in the forefront of our conversation as we plan for him.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. And thank you all for your contributions to this conversation. At this time, do we all agree as a team that Peter does not meet eligibility for MAP A testing and therefore will take the regular MAP?
I think so.
Okay, great. Thank you. Since we did answer no to that second question, we will not need to proceed through the rest of the checklist, and we can now move on to the next part of the IEP.